If you still think the 22 long rifle is just a kid's backyard plinker or something for popping squirrels, you're stuck in the past, buddy. This little rimfire pill, the same one you probably ran through your granddad's beat-up bolt gun, has a lot more bite than most folks give it credit for. Today, we're going straight into the most brutal, bone-rattling 22 long rifle loads that are shredding ballistic gel and flattening varmints all over America in 2025. Now, don't expect some cookie-cutter ammo list that reads like a catalog. This isn't a sales pitch. It's a no-nonsense look at the rounds that actually earn their place, based on proven performance, real-world usability, and the kind of traits that matter when you load a mag with intent. You're about to see rimfire ammo that hits way above its weight. And when we hit number 3, I promise your jaw's going to drop. That one is wild. Let's rack the bolt and get into it. CCI Stinger. We're starting with a round that's been a rimfire legend for decades. The CCI Stinger isn't just well known in the 22 long rifle crowd, it's practically the poster child for high-speed rimfire. Walk into any gun shop and say high velocity, and you'll hear Stinger before you even finish your sentence. This thing screams downrange at about 1,640 feet per second, pushing a lightweight 32-grain copper-plated hollow point. Sure, some folks say it's too light tell that to the rabbit that flips backward when it catches one in the chest. When you're talking this kind of velocity, that speed itself becomes a weapon, dumping energy hard and fast. On impact, it opens up like snapping a pocket knife inside a block of gelatin, quick, wide, and violent, transferring nearly 200 foot-pounds of energy in the process. In gel tests, the Stinger often shows a surprisingly large temporary wound cavity, something you don't usually expect from a rimfire. It's flashy, yeah, but it earns every bit of that reputation. Versatility is its secret weapon. You can run it in a Ruger 10-22 for devastating small game results, or keep it in a compact pistol for an extra punch in a pinch. Self-defense with a 22 long rifle is always debated, but if you're going that route, you need a round that actually delivers. The Stinger does. And don't kid yourself, it's loud. This isn't some quiet subsonic puff. It's got a sharp crack that'll turn heads at the indoor range. Bottom line, the CCI Stinger is fast, mean, and unforgiving. It's the sprinter of the rimfire world, lean, twitchy, and dangerous when it's moving. Ignore it at your own loss. Federal Punch. Now let's shift gears to a round that's not about flash, it's about doing one job, and doing it well. The Federal Punch is purpose-built for self-defense in 22 long rifle pistols, especially those short-barreled pocket pieces like the Ruger LCP-2. This isn't about dramatic expansion or showy gel block photos. It's a 29-grain flat-nose projectile with a slick nickel-plated case, built to feed flawlessly and dig deep every single time. In ballistic gel, it punches straight through 12 to 16 inches, even when layered clothing is in the way. No tumbling, no weird deflections, just a clean, deep channel. Expansion is nice if you can get it, but in rimfire handguns, it's hit or miss, so the punch skips the gamble entirely. Instead, it takes a page out of centerfire duty ammo philosophy. Consistent penetration first. Federal essentially shrunk that mindset down for the rimfire carry crowd. Is it flashy? No. Is it Instagram pretty? Definitely not. But when you're talking about trusting a rimfire to save your skin, the Punch is at the top of my list. It's dependable, it feeds beautifully, and it doesn't care about impressing anyone, it just works. If you've ever fought with a 22 semi-auto choking on hollow points, you know how big a deal that is. The Punch fixes that headache. It might not make fireworks in the gel block, but in the real world, this is the rimfire load that gets the job done. Winchester Silvertip. All right, here's where things get downright wild in the best possible way. Remember the title where I said number 3 is unreal? Yeah, I wasn't exaggerating. I'm talking about the Winchester Silvertip 37 grain segmented hollow point. The first time I saw this round-hit ballistic gel, I had to rewind the footage multiple times because I honestly thought the camera had glitched. It didn't. What I saw was deliberate, controlled chaos. The gel block ripped apart like someone had just slit open a bag of soup. Most 22 long rifle hollow points are content to mushroom out, flatten, or maybe tumble a bit. That's cute, but the Silvertip plays a whole different game. On impact, it intentionally fractures into 3 or 4 razor-edged shards, each cutting its own independent wound track. Think of it as cramming a miniature claymore mine into a rimfire case designed to shred from the inside without over-penetrating. For self-defense in close quarters, that's a huge plus. You stop the threat without sending a stray round through drywall and into the neighbor's aquarium. And here's the kicker, it's not picky about what you feed it through. I've run it in both my Ruger SR22 and my older Smith & Wesson Victory without a single hiccup. No feeding jams, no stovepipes, just smooth operation. The tip may look aggressive, but it runs like it's been buttered. A lot of shooters still haven't heard of it, but in 2025, it's starting to gain serious attention thanks to ballistic gel demos going viral online. One shooter even called it the 22 that thinks it's a 410 slug. Over the top? Maybe. But after seeing it in action, I get it. Bottom line, this round earns its spot for being unique, unpredictable, and brutally effective. CCI Velociter. Now let's take a step back from the fireworks and talk about a round that doesn't rely on gimmicks, it just works. I'm talking about the CCI Velociter 40 grain copper plated hollow point. On paper, it's not trying to break land speed records, coming in at roughly 1,435 feet per second. It's also not trying to shave weight for extra velocity. Instead, it sits in that sweet spot, heavy enough for solid penetration, fast enough to ensure reliable expansion. Performance-wise, the Velociter hits the Goldilocks zone. In gel, it consistently penetrates between 12 and 14 inches while expanding into a clean, uniform mushroom. I've taken small game with it, and when it lands, it's game over, no flopping around, no chasing down wounded animals. Out of rifles, my Ruger 10/22 groups it beautifully tight clusters every time. Out of compact pistols, it still feeds and fires without complaint, which is not something you can say about every 40 grain round. It doesn't fragment, it doesn't create flashy wound patterns, and it won't win points for dramatic effect. But that's not the point. This is the dependable friend in your ammo, can always there, always ready, and always consistent. If you want a 22 long rifle hollow point that simply gets the job done without any unnecessary drama, the Velociter is it. Norma Hunter 22 power. Here's one that most shooters in the US are still sleeping on: the Norma Hunter 22 power. This 40 grain hollow point comes out of Sweden and clocks in at around 1,260 feet per second. It's not a hypervelocity screamer, but when it lands, it hits with authority. It expands cleanly, punches straight wound channels, and doesn't destroy meat when you're hunting small game, something I appreciate when I want usable meat and not a crimson cloud. Norma has a long-standing reputation for precision, and you feel it every time you pull the trigger. Point of impact stays consistent. Recoil feels identical shot after shot, and accuracy is repeatable whether you're using a bolt action or a suppressed semi-auto. It feeds flawlessly in every platform I've tried. and at roughly 10 to 11 cents a round, it delivers serious value for the performance you're getting. I call it the quiet performer. It's not flashy, but when you line it up against the big American names, it absolutely holds its own. I don't expect it to stay under the radar for much longer once more shooters see what it does in gel tests and in the field. It's going to move from hidden gem to must-have in a hurry. Winchester Super X. Some folks don't need to brag, flash fancy gear, or chase attention, they just get the job done. That's the Winchester Super X 40-grain copper-plated hollow point in a nutshell. No frills, no marketing smoke and mirrors, just decades of dependable performance. It has been in the rimfire game longer than most shooters have been alive, and that history shows every time you pull the trigger. With a muzzle speed right around 1,280 feet per second and a bullet weight that hits the sweet spot, this round offers an ideal blend of velocity and stability. It's not about fragmentation or dramatic ballistic gel explosions, it's about steady, controlled expansion and deep, meaningful penetration. This is classic small game ammunition, built for hunting and proven in the field. Flat shooting, accurate and reliable, whether you are running a bolt-action rifle or a semi-automatic plinker. I have used Super X on raccoons, opossums, and the occasional brazen fox, and the results have been identical every time. They drop instantly like someone yanked the power cord. You will not see this round trending on social media with flashy slow-motion gel tests, but that is fine. It is not trying to be famous, it is trying to work every time you need it. In a market obsessed with the newest, shiniest thing, the Super X is the seasoned ranch hand with calloused hands and a bad attitude toward varmints. And honestly, in a world of tactical gimmicks and overpriced gear, that is more than a little refreshing. Aguila Super Extra Hollow Point. Now let's talk about the workhorse of the budget rimfire world, the Aguila Super Extra Hollow Point. You have seen it stacked by the brick at your local gun shop with a price tag that makes you do a double take. And yes, I know the knee-jerk reaction cheap rimfire must mean dirty powder, weak loads, or unreliable cycling. But here is the truth. This stuff punches far above its price point. Aguila is one of the largest rimfire producers on the planet, and their Super Extra line has earned a quiet but loyal following. The hollow point variant, usually weighing between 38 and 40 grains and clocking in around 1,250 feet per second, delivers expansion that stands shoulder to shoulder with loads twice the cost. I have run thousands of these through everything old-school Marlin lever actions, suppressed Ruger pistols, and more modern semi-autos, and the performance is consistently solid. It is not a precision match round, but it was never meant to be. This is for small game hunting, pest control, and good old-fashioned backyard plinking that occasionally turns into impromptu ballistic testing. In gel tests, rifle length barrels bring out its best expansion, but even out of pistols it still does respectable work. It cycles cleaner than you would expect for the price, and I have actually had fewer misfires with Aguila than with certain premium brands I could name but won't. Is it glamorous? Not even close. Will it blow apart gel blocks for YouTube clout? Probably not. But if you want ammunition you can actually afford to shoot in bulk and still trust in the field, Aguila shows up ready for work every single time. Conclusion. That wraps up 8 of the hardest hitting little rimfire loads making noise in 2025. If you have stuck around to the end, I appreciate your time and curiosity more than you know. If you got something out of this, consider tapping that like button, and subscribing. It keeps these deep dives coming and lets me know you want more. Got a favorite 22 long rifle round I didn't cover? Drop it in the comments. I read every single one. Stay sharp, shoot safe, and I will see you in the next one.